Okay, so it's recording. So you can see my screen here. And as I was saying, so I wrote some software. It was submitted for the Loebner Prize. I did not come in first. I did not come in second. I did not come in third. But I made the running. And so somewhere out there is a piece of documentation that shows it. I made the clip. I left artificial intelligence and I got involved with cryptocurrencies around 2010. I opened the first over-the-counter Bitcoin exchange in Canada, and I continued with that up until around 2017, 2016, at which point I ventured off in other areas. Now recently I've just left Canada's largest third-party merchant for Amazon, and I've left it partially because I'm very interested in this project. So I guess without taking any longer for giving you my background, why don't we just get into the software if everybody's okay with that. Okay, so right here we're going to run the program out of our IDE. The software, now one thing I'll just give you guys, this software is still under construction. You're going to see bugs, you're going to see stuff will happen. If you're uncomfortable with bugs and things going wrong, this is not the right demonstration for you. Okay, so what we'll do, actually I'll do this right now. We will go into, we'll make sure to clear out our project workspace. So we've got a project workspace here underneath projects. Okay, and we're going to go in here and we're working project 0. I'll drop out all of the models that we have here. So what we're doing is, this is a model down development. And I'll just restart the program. So we start fresh with no models. And we'll begin. Okay, so this software is fairly general in terms of its usage. Is anybody here familiar with RESTful API? Okay, great. I would assume so. Lots of programmers and technical people here, so you guys probably know about REST. That's good. And it is an industry standard. It's becoming very, very popular with a lot of big companies, and it's basically the standard now. So I'll show you a little bit about how this software works. So basically, with model down development, we're going to rely a little bit on the AI to help us create models that we want to include in our program. Now, maybe we'll create an artificial intelligence company, and we're going to make a REST API for an artificial intelligence company. Is everybody okay with that? And I think we should be able to finish most of it before, and have time to do a proper wrap-up before the clock strikes. So is everybody's okay if we do that? Is there a yes? Okay. Alright, so we're going to go into, I'll close this one, and there's my main screen and my wizard. So we're going to go in here, and what we know is that an AI company is going to have staff. Okay, so we'll let the tool create our model for us. It can take a second. Okay, finished. Now we can go take a look at the mod. So it's decided on these characteristics. So skill set, years of experience, so on. If you drill down into these attributes, the gender will probably be a string, age will probably be an integer, salary will probably be a double, a phone number will probably be a string. I would imagine it could be a number. Anyhow, we could control this by adding more characteristics. Now, does anybody have any other suggestions of models that you might find in an artificial intelligence company? I mean, I'll start out. I'm sure that we probably would have a data center. Just use regular English. Okay, so we're going to have a data center in our artificial intelligence business. Okay. And we probably also have an office, I would think. And what did they put in there for a data center? Voltage, firewall, power, cooling, uptime. Okay, security. So it's started to develop. They did this for us. Okay. Now I'll go and add. I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to add. What should I add? Does anybody want to give me a suggestion so you guys can drive the show a bit? What would you expect to find in artificial? I mean, for sure we could add an office, but what else might you find there? And we could say desks and stuff like that, but maybe we can come up with something more that would be more equipment. Okay, well, that'd be equipment, yeah. I'm going to skip that one. Let's get a better one. Does anybody have a data? Yes, okay. So, I mean, okay, training data. How about that? We'll put training data. I like that one. That's a good one. Training data. Okay. And we'll see what comes up with the training data. And I'm just going to finish this wizard. Go back. So we've got training data, and so it's come up with training hour, gender. I don't know why it's got gender in there for training data. Attitude ratings, competency levels, skills, training data. We may not have provided it with the correct context. So I'm going to delete it, and maybe we'll come back to and maybe try and add it with a better context. So what we'll say is let's be a little bit more specific. We'll say machine learning training data. So that's got a little bit more context in the model. Okay, so now it should be able to kind of grasp what we want. Okay, let's go to the last page. Close. Now, as you build out with this UI, we have a CLI, but this is sort of like your user-friendly kind of a mode. So under here, recorded by, let's see, file name, shape, okay, confidence level, labels. Okay, that looks better. I mean, we could add more, but and if we wanted to modify this, like for example, we wanted to add something specific, right? let's add a control. So I'm going to add a control. And I'm just going to put it as an integer. Okay, just for the sake of speed. Okay. And done. And I'm going to go one step further. I'll add one more model, and that's it. I think you guys got the idea. So we're going to add an office. Okay, so I'm going to create that model. Oh, I didn't use the generator. So this model is going to be empty. So are you guys okay with an empty office? Just for the sake of simplicity here. Go back here. I could have gone and used the model generator to fill things out like rooms and windows and office numbers or who knows what it's going to come up with. So it tends to be very succinct. Data. Data. So okay, we'll add one more. We'll put in data. Computer data. We did put in machine learning training data. Okay. I'm comfortable with that. So what we're going to have to do now is we're going to go over to our tool. And so we could select which database we'd like to deploy to. We also support blockchains for if we want to record specific data that we don't want to be changed, right? So I don't know how much you guys know about cryptocurrencies and blockchains, but they allow us to you can carve things in there and they can't be changed. So we do allow some components to do that. Now we can either create our program as a client or as a server. Okay, so I'm going to stick with the server. We support multiple different languages, for example, like C++, Node, Scala, Go server, Kotlin, Python, and other ones that we're still working are not released yet. I'm going to use JAX-RS spec because I'm biased and I like this one. And it's very stable in our platform. You can see we've already got it there. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that there. And what we can do is just publish our schema. Okay. And if we go to our logger, let's see, I want to see where is our logger. Okay, so it looks like to run the generator. It does take a minute to run the generator. It's got to do a lot of stuff. And then it's done, probably. Okay, so I'll close out of that. And I'm actually going to just exit the program for a second. And we're going to come back in and restart the program. Okay. We should get our splash screen. It should load up. We're going to bring in our data. And now over here, you guys should be familiar. We have our code now is generated for us. Our models. Okay. And they're fairly extensive. I mean, these are all what they call like wired, right? For REST. All of the information is here, generated for us for all of the models that we included in our demo. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, just so that I can grab the this one. Okay, makes it a little easier to. So, so it's created our machine learning data. You can take look what staff looks like. You know. If we're not comfortable with it, if there's something we don't like, we can drop the field and just republish. Okay, so that gives you a taste of what we're doing there. it also will go and create your data access object or API objects that will write to the database. And it will also create our schema. Okay, so if I come up here and then we go back into the Open API, and then we go into our JAX. Oh, no, not JAX. We want MySQL. And we take a look at our schema. Then we have it's gone and created us our tables. Okay, if we go to the top level up here, we look at the schema. It's you'll notice also that it's already transformed them into more conventional sort of database naming conventions, right? So usually with MySQL you use like what they call a lower snake case. So we've got that, and everybody who's a developer, since we have so many developers on this call, you guys can tell me what's got to be the biggest problem with developers. They don't ever do their documentation, right? So we don't have to do documentation anymore. It does it for us, right? Running the documentation. We can add comments if we want to later and to add additional information, but usually you can get away with, as long as you've got a library that describes, the capabilities of the objects that you're working with, you tend to be okay. Now, if you're familiar with Swagger, is anybody familiar with Swagger? No? Okay. So, I'll go back. So, Swagger gives us the ability to interact with our new API. Okay, so this is API Inspector, and we've got all these different methods. We can try them out, and we can see how they, does the data go into the database? How does it work? And so on. So they've got this tryout feature, and you can change data. Like for example, change the weight. And now this will not work because I'm not running a database in the background. But if I was, and it was connected, it would work. So here it's going to show you, it's going to do a curl post. And in this particular case, so we got a CORS error, but this is giving us our REST API. So is there a question was in there? Yes, go ahead. You're talking about this YAML, right? Yes. So we are leveraging Open API, but I'm not aware of any Swagger tool that will allow you to generate your models using AI. Yeah. So you're working on something that's very similar. So it sounds like there's going to be lots of horses in this race. Okay. Yeah. Now, one of the other areas that we've decided to work on is, we don't want to we want to be able to just work on this and have our Git be posted, right? Now, Swagger Hub does have some similar capabilities, right? And GitHub you can connect these things together. and get similar results. But as far as I've seen, I have not seen any tools yet that bridge together all of the different components. So I'll give you an example of a program that is, if you've logged into GenPen. Okay, so we use workflows. Okay, and on our workflows, these guys here, you can add elements if you'd like. For example, we've got 4 minutes left, so I want to try and wrap this up. But if I wanted to grab, say, some security, say a public key signature, we can add that into our workflow, and it becomes part of the page. Okay, so we're going to have having a lot of pre-configured UI UX and integrating with things like Figma and other UI UX tools and UI UX vendors to allow for sort of rapid front-end development that can then integrate and connect directly into your back-end through the REST. And that, in a nutshell, is the tool that we have. And we have one other feature which I'm not going to show today, and this is a bulk model generator. And really what we would do here is we would just lay out. So rather than doing the whole process that we just did, which is pretty fast anyways, we would just say create REST application injects RS4 and AI startup, right? Startup include accounting, payroll, etc. Okay, and what this will do is it will take this information, break it down into a bunch of models, and then come up with suggestions for ideal models, as well as identifying, corresponding foreign keys and all of the schema related to it, so that basically, rather than doing all the steps, it's a single step. I'm not going to go into that because there are still a little bit too much bugs on that. So we're on the last minute of the call, and I'll just stop presenting and just open quickly if there's any questions or criticisms, comments, recommendations. I'd like to get feedback from you guys, especially because basically everybody here is, I think, pretty experienced with machine learning, maybe with the exception of Leon and Logan and Lodestar. Does anybody have a comment they'd like to make? And I do appreciate the comment there, Kuja. So it's going to create your data access object, it's going to create your controller, it's going to create your model, and auto-wire them all in one of the 40 languages. And then when it creates the models, when it creates the controllers, it basically writes into it a small area of a template. Now, I'm not going to go and give you all of our little secret sauces because I don't want your horse to go any faster than mine. Yeah. So we are going to be releasing this product to the public fairly soon, and we do aggregate responses from multiple different AI tools, and we have a reinforcement learning algorithm that we're using to select the best to try and select the best answers. It doesn't always get it right, but it's been getting better and better. So, yeah. Any other questions? Criticisms? Does this look interesting to anybody? I mean, you guys are studying this stuff. You've been learning a lot about it. Maybe computer vision is more interesting. There's a lot of different types of applications that we can write with this software. It's not limited to only text. But we are using VLLMs in the back, as well as reinforcement learning. So it's a very fun project. I've never worked on something like this in my life, and I'm very happy to do it. Yeah, well, Pooja says she can generate her schemas pretty fast, but I know if she's using the Swagger editor, we're going to mop the floor with her. Because the Swagger schema editor is slower than I wouldn't want to ever use it. I did use it. And so little interesting fact I'll just give you guys while we're here. So let's just see how many lines of code. Do you want to take a guess? How many lines of code do you think we wrote just now? Any guesses? 0? Well, yeah. Technically, we wrote 0, but how many lines of code did we generate? I guess is maybe a better question. Anybody have ideas? Or did you just throw a random idea out there? So if you include all the documentation, so for the JAX, let's go. I think what we want to do is go here. So for the JAX, RS spec plus the MySQL plus the documentation plus our Git commits, Git history, and in addition to we did do a very quick Rust one. I'm just waiting for this to finish, and it's going to come back with a number of lines of code here. So, okay, I can see what the number is here. Any wild guesses? I want to see if anybody can come the closest. So that little program that we just wrote created 300,000 lines of code. If you include documentation, Git commits, schema, all the auto wiring, all the controllers, data access objects, and all the code that goes with it. And we did that in 20 minutes less. So it's a compelling argument. So I think that I'm only gonna. I'm not. This is not an insult to my previous company, but I will just say this as a closing remark. I'll share. Now this is you guys know you're all in the right place because you're all working in the AI field. Oh, MongoDB. The data. Sorry, a few thousand. No, yeah, okay. The data is only stored in the form of relationship. How you know? We're constantly looking to add additional databases, additional programming languages, as well as also, and this was something I did not bring up, also human languages. So we don't want our program to only be writing code in English. We want it to say, okay, I want to create a program that will, for an AI company that is based in France. So guess what? Now all of your function calls probably, and comments, everything should probably be in French. So that is something that's on our roadmap. We've played around with it, and it does work. And we are constantly looking to add more databases, more programming languages, also more human languages, and more general capabilities. So this is not a standstill project. You could see the scope of it's quite big. And I'll just show you one thing, just to put things into context. So this is an API from a previous company that I worked at, and it's secured, so you can't access anything. But it's got 30 models. Now, we just created 4. And it took them about a year and a half with about 30 developers to create that Swagger API. And, some front ends. And they did it the old-fashioned way. Agile, like a typical, like 99% of the dev shops that are out there. So it costs them about $300,000 to build that API plus some small front ends. And so in 20 minutes, we did what? 20% of the work? Almost? So I think it's an interesting project, and we're getting a lot of traction from different groups, and we're looking to bring people who want to that see the value of what we're doing and want to join our team here. So with that, I guess we're 8 minutes over. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'm going to thank all of you for coming. Please feel free to reach out to either myself or Logan through LinkedIn. If you'd like to be invited to another demo when we've added more capabilities, let me know and I'll put you on the list. With that, I'm going to have to make sure that I edit out that last part out of the video. So you guys have a good night, or good day, or good morning, wherever you're located. And thanks for coming. Thank you. Yeah. I'll close the meeting now. Thank you. Bye.